there was also a period, and perhaps it was the last period, when people cared about myth. People like Le Corbusier and Kahn cared about myth. I mean, nobody, I mean, there's a sense that you can do without it, or it's deeply implicit. If you dig deep enough in, I don't know, King of Kumba, you can find, or Passive Anarchon, you can find a kind of bodiness, and you can find a, you know, a kind of interiority to the architecture that has, it communicates, and even unbelievably implicitly. But it's, I mean, the modular, I think, I mean, even Le Corbusier said to his office, you know, don't start with a modular.
Yes.
If you do the design, and if, you know, he would rip it off people's desks who are just using it as a, exactly. Anyway, I'm grateful for the term body politic. Body politic.
Yes.
I think you're onto something with that. I mean, to a certain extent, it's physis and nomos in 18th century dress. But the body side, why I'm intrigued by it is because somebody like Agamben will say, he will cite Arendt and Foucault in a passage I've never been able to find. He gives the passage, but it doesn't exist. But anyway, let's stick with Arendt. That's good enough. To the effect that we've turned our lives upside down from Aristotle.
That we've turned
our lives upside down from
Yes.
Aristotle, where for Aristotle the resources are in place and they lead to the bios theoreticals, you know, speculative life. I.e., the purpose of the city is to understand your place in the world, its meaning. And that's why politics is interesting. And he says we've turned it upside down. We now use our politics as a technique to manage resources, to, you know, for the sake of well-being. And this easily trails off into capitalism and so forth. And so the business at the end that you're talking about, where people try to take this management of resources into something absurd or poetic, perhaps referring to the prima materia of alchemy in a kind of old way, which is certainly something that Corbusier was doing. And the whole motif of the primitive as something that keeps coming up in direct reciprocity with, you know, over-fascination with high-tech and iconography of high-tech, becomes like a huge allegory for an absent politics, would you say? Or for an absent politics? I mean, what you don't have is a fruitful political life. I mean, no neighborhood can contest the developer, so on and so forth. And the politics is, there's nobody in charge of saying what's civic. Or, you know, not lawyers, I mean, it's planners at best, or aesthetic opinion, or irony. I mean, in terms of Eric's question, and it just strikes me that the body art is like a huge metaphor for an absent politics. Just to repeat myself.